Sony has revealed the release date for its HDMI 2.1 firmware upgrade for the Bravia XH90 or X900H 4K LED LCD television. Let's talk about it. Hello everyone, my name is Vincent Teo. The Sony XH90, also marketed as the Bravia X900H in the USA, is one of the most popular televisions from the Japanese brand this year because it is the only TV within the company's 2020 TV lineup to support full bandwidth HDMI 2.1 features, including 4K at 120 frames per second, VRR or variable refresh rate, EARC or enhanced ARC, as well as ALLM or auto low latency mode. Now, when I tested and reviewed the TV maybe a couple of months ago, these features are not available on the TV yet, so I couldn't test all these HDMI 2.1 gaming features. Not that at that time there was any HDMI 2.1 gaming source anyway. But with the PS5 slated to be coming out next month and also the Xbox Series X as well, I think a lot of XH90 or X900H owners will be keen to find out when the firmware update will land to unlock all these HDMI 2.1 gaming features. Last week, Sony themselves have posted a teaser trailer for not only the X900H but also the ZH8 8K television, touting their readiness for the PS5 because these TVs have been marketed as ready for PlayStation 5 televisions. And within the teaser trailer, in the small print, which I'm still trying to come to terms with, there is a line that says that the firmware update to enable or unlock 4K at 120 frames per second will arrive in winter 2020. Now, I'm not very good with dates myself. God knows how many dinner dates don't really end the way I wanted. So I went onto Google and tried and search for what is the definition of winter 2020. And it turns out that winter 2020 can range from the 21st of December to the 20th of March. And then being a smart ass myself, because Sony is a Japanese company and I remember that they have slightly different fiscal year, I looked up the Japanese calendar date for winter 2020. And again, there is not much difference. So from the 8th of December to the 20th of March would be the Japanese classification of winter 2020. Now, from this point of view, I think it is very unlikely that the firmware update to unlock HDMI 2.1 support on the XH90 or X900H will arrive by the time the Sony PS5 is released, say, next month in the middle of November. So I think, by giving themselves such a vague term, winter 2020, I think Sony is probably planning for maybe some unexpected delays, which may mean that the firmware upgrade may not even actually arrive at the end of this year. It may arrive, beginning of 2021. And if we look on Amazon.com, there is a listing from the internet giant for the X900H, and there has been a line that has been added that the firmware update will arrive winter 2020 and spring 2021. What does this mean? Does this mean that there will be two separate firmware updates to unlock or enable different features? Or does that mean that the firmware update will land somewhere between winter 2020 and spring 2021? And if you are asking why I'm speculating, that is because I couldn't actually, get any information out of Sony. Sony is a company that likes to keep their cards close to their chest. I mean, in my years of dealing with them, even when attending press briefings or a demo event, I have never managed to find out the number of local dimming zones on their full array local dimming LED LCDs or the peak brightness on their HDR televisions because the company just doesn't like to give out numbers, just doesn't like to divulge all this information. And in my personal life, I'm fairly well versed with torture techniques, various torture techniques. I know my fair share, but I can never pry this information from them. So don't be surprised that I couldn't actually find out the exact date when this HDMI 2.1 firmware update for the Sony XH90 will land. But at least from the Amazon.com listing and also from the teaser trailer that Sony has put out themselves, we know it is somewhere in between winter 2020 and spring 2021. And this means that it is extremely unlikely. I would be very surprised if it actually arrives by the time the PS5 is launched and released onto the market. But I think if I was a betting person, which I am, I wouldn't actually like to place any wager on the firmware update arriving before or just in time for the PS5 launch. If you'd like to watch some of our videos concerning HDMI 2.1 and the next-gen consoles, I've created a playlist here, and I'll see you in the next video.